It's no secret that I do a lot of video where I use News One Now. I also like to use video from Joy Reid's show on the weekend, AM Joy. I use MSNBC footage. I use I say some, CNN footage, and a sprinkling of Fox News footage in my videos. The reason I do that is because I obviously have an opinion, and the narratives from the various channels, for the most part, help me to show you or frame the opinion I form. Now, News One Now basically is a black-owned media outlet, and I just want to let most people know that don't know, black media is paying attention to it. Now, black media is minuscule compared to regular mainstream media, but as I stated, black media is paying attention to what's going on, and we do have an opinion. Outlets like News One Now and the Tom Joyner Morning Show, outlets such as that, do help to get the word out and to inform the black people and other minorities within this country of things that they need to be informed of. Now, our next step, obviously, is to expand black media and other minority outlets. Now, and I will say that and preface it by saying the Hispanic community also has some rather significant media outlets. Televisión is one of them, and I'm not fluent in Spanish, and my cable network or cable provider, for whatever reason, I can't seem to be able to pick that up, because I do have family members that are fluent in Spanish, and I think I'm going to try to see if I can get them to actually sit down with me, if I can find the recordings on the internet, and have them tell me exactly what their positions are on various things. But for now, I have to concentrate on what I can deal with. All of that being said, and I know that it's a lot, black media is paying attention, obviously, to Donald Trump and the things that he's doing, his cabinet selections, his positions on Russia. And what we need to do is we need to focus our, let me say, meager resources, and use those resources wisely. Now, this particular video is basically just shining a light on the Republican Party. And it's funny, when the Republicans get into a fight, they normally try to bring a gun to a gunfight, and if possible, they want to bring a howitzer or a large cannon to a gunfight, where when the shoe was on the other foot, Democrats normally will bring a knife to a gunfight, and if they can't bring a knife to a gunfight, they'll bring a water pistol to a gunfight. This is one of the major condemnations that I have for the Democratic Party. When you're fighting fire, you normally fight fire with fire. You don't fight fire with gasoline or lighter fluid. You just get burned up in the process. Anyway, here is the portion of News One Now regarding the hearings for Donald Trump's cabinet. Now, if you weren't aware, the Republicans are going to try to ram through 7 nominations within the next couple of weeks. And they have the numbers in order to get that done. The problem here is the nominees have not completed their ethics information sheets. Those sheets provide information as far as their financial holdings, any types of affiliations they have with foreign governments, information of that nature. Without having those information sheets completed, it's damn near impossible for questions to be asked of the candidates that will reveal potential conflicts of interest, both politically and financially. But for some reason, the Republicans, i.e. Mitch McConnell, don't think that that's a big problem, and he's proposing to hold the hearings. Not proposing, he is going to hold the hearings, most of them on Tuesday and Wednesday, without some, and I do say some, of the participants having completed those forms. Jeff Sessions is one of those people who has not completed his forms, okay? Tillerson, the nominee for Secretary of State, has not completed his forms. There are, again, several people who haven't completed their forms that are going to have hearings held on. I got a major problem with this, and hopefully you do too, and we need to get out there and let these senators know that we are dissatisfied. Now, again, do they have to listen to us? Actually, you know, they don't. But if they don't listen to us, there's a price that needs to be paid at the voter booth the next time they come up. Here's the segment from the Roland Martin Show, and I'm going to jump in at certain points in times to point certain things out to you. Here we go.
All right, folks, confirmation hearings taking place this week for Donald Trump's cabinet picks, including those chosen to be part of his national security team. However, several of his nominees haven't completed the necessary ethics and financial paperwork required for the congressional vetting process. The Office of Government Ethics said the rush is a cause for alarm. A letter from the office's director, Walter Schaaf, reads in part, quote, "The announced hearing schedule for several nominees who have not completed the ethics review process is of great concern to me. I am not aware of any occasion in the 4 decades since OGE was established when the Senate held a confirmation hearing before the nominee had completed the ethics review process." Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says no big deal.
We confirmed 7 cabinet appointments the day President Obama was sworn in.
Okay, that's the first place I want to stop. That yes, they did in fact approve 7 cabinet appointees of President Obama the day that he was sworn in, and all 7 of those people that were appointed, that were approved, every last one of them had completed all of their ethics paperwork, and it had been submitted for a while, so that all of the questioning that was done with full and complete information.
We didn't like most of them either, but he won the election. So all of these little procedural complaints are related to their frustration at having not only lost the White House, but having lost the Senate. I understand that, but we need to sort of grow up here and get past that. We need to have the president's national security team in place on day one, and papers are still coming in, and so I'm optimistic.
See, and that's the point. He said papers are still coming in. That means you don't have all the information you need in order to do a proper confirmation hearing, okay? But he's making an exception.
That we'll be able to get up to 7 nominees on day one, just like we did 8 years ago.
The confirmation hearings begin Tuesday for Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions, who's up for Attorney General, and retired Marine General John Kelly, the nominee for Secretary of Homeland Security. On Wednesday, there may be up to 5 hearings, including former ExxonMobil chairman and CEO Rex Tillerson and Kansas Congressman Mike Pompeo, nominees for Secretary of State and CIA Director. Now, here's what's interesting, folks. You just heard Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell say right there that, oh, we actually confirmed these nominees of President Barack Obama on the day he was sworn in. But this is the same Mitch McConnell who said in 2009 that they would not schedule a hearing for any nominee who had not completed the ethics review.
And that's the difference. All of Obama's nominees had completed all of their paperwork. Trump's nominees have not. So, double standard or changing of the rules, anyone?
A hearing and a vote are 2 separate things. So why is Mitch McConnell changing the rules? His own rule that he established in 2009. Let's talk about this with our panel. Kristen Clark, President and CEO of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Also, we have Barbara Arnwine. She's the founding president of Transformative Justice Coalition. Lauren Victoria Burke, political analyst and writer for NBC Black. Eugene Craig III, CEO of the Eugene Craig Organization. All right, folks, first and foremost, we have lots of things, obviously, that'll be going on here, especially dealing with with Sessions' nomination. I'm going to deal with that in just a second. But Eugene, McConnell wants to change the rules. So let's cut to the chase. Republicans are now in control. You have a Republican president. You don't want to follow your own rules from 2009 with President Obama's nominees.
Well, look, Mitch, he said it very plainly and clearly. They're hoping that, they better leave with at least 7 nominees on day 1 confirmed. He said the paperwork's still trailing in. I think the greater concern here is the politicalization of ethics. When the letter was released, it wasn't released to the entire Senate. It wasn't released to both sides. The director released it to Schumer's office. That's politicization of this process.
But the director also made it clear they've been having difficulty in trying to even reach Trump transition team officials. You would think that they would be trying to reach them. He's made it clear, just because you think you establish your own rules, no, you have to follow these rules. This is not private business anymore, Donald Trump. This is now the government.
Absolutely, and both sides through transition played by distinct roles. Back in August when both teams, set their transition teams. So the vetting's taking place. The hearings are going to take place, and it's going to be time for both sides to actually get their questions in, and if there are ethical, grievances, bring them up during the hearing.
But Lauren, he said in 2009, we won't schedule a hearing until the paperwork is done.
Right, yeah. Well, the rules are somehow now different for the Republicans. This will come back to haunt the Republicans if they get their way on this. Donald Trump will not be president forever, okay? There'll be a time when a Democratic president will be elected, and when they turn to everybody and say, 4 or 8 years from now, okay, we're just going to do what we want to do and we don't care about the rules, I want to hear what the Republicans say about that. You know as well as I do that there is a proper procedure, way things are done. Donald Trump has a habit, we've seen already, of acting as if the rules don't apply to him, whether it's releasing his taxes or anything else. Here we go again with yet another thing that they just want to sort of ignore and move forward on. Okay, but it comes around, what goes around comes around in politics, and you're going to see it happen.
Barbara and Christian, these things matter because, look, you need to ensure that people who are going to be in these positions don't have conflicts of interest. We see the nominee for Secretary of Defense has significant ties to defense companies. He has to actually divest as well. You want to make sure that people are not making decisions that can benefit them financially.
Absolutely. And this is the second ethics debacle already as we head into this new administration. First, they tried to get rid of the ethics committee. Right. The House Republicans did. Now, all of a sudden, we have this failure to follow the office of, the general ethics guidelines. But the danger to us is that the Senate hearing should have this information so they can ask questions about this during the hearing.
Right.
This should
right. It's a little hard to ask questions if you don't. It's a little hard to go, let me ask you about that. I'm sorry, the sheet is blank. I'm sorry, I don't have it.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Politicization of ethics.
Right.
Total abandonment of ethics, abandonment of the rules. We don't want sham hearings. These are incredibly important positions. The American public deserve the opportunity to have complete questionnaires to understand these people, these nominees' records from A to Z. And we need to make sure that these senators are doing their job and really vetting people who may be their colleagues. Just because Jeff Sessions has sat in that Senate for the last several decades doesn't mean that there should be a sham process. There's some important questions.
And actually, speaking of Jeff Sessions, of course, that's going to be a huge focus in terms of this week. A group of faith leaders is hoping to pressure Congress.
All right, so that particular video is basically just the Republicans basically changing the rules. And we need to hold their feet to the fire and demand that all of the ethics information be provided to the senators, especially in the Judiciary Committee, but all the senators in the various committees that are going to oversee the passing out of those committees of the various nominees for all of the cabinet positions. So stay tuned. I don't have a lot of hope. Again, Mitch McConnell always claimed that he was one for a regular order, but these hearings are not being held in all due process. With all due process, they're not being held in a general order.